The crash in the forest. Jack Parker loved quiet places. He often left the noisy city behind and went deep into the woods to relax. This time, he picked a remote forest far from roads and people. With only a tent, a flashlight, and some food, he planned to stay for a few days and enjoy nature. The night was calm. Stars filled the sky. Jack sat near his small campfire, sipping warm coffee. Everything was peaceful. Until a strange sound broke the silence. Boom. A loud explosion echoed through the forest. Birds flew from trees. The ground shook a little. Jack jumped up, eyes wide. What was that? He whispered to himself. He grabbed his flashlight and started walking toward the sound. It wasn't far. After 5 minutes, he smelled smoke. Something had crashed. Soon, he saw broken trees, burning branches, and a large crater in the ground. In the center was something glowing. Not metal. Not rock. Something strange. Something not from Earth. He stepped closer, carefully. His flashlight hit the object. It was a small ship, badly damaged, half buried in dirt and smoke. Jack had never seen anything like it. A soft sound came from inside. "Hello?" Jack called out. Nervous but curious. No answer. He moved closer, climbed over some broken pieces, and looked inside the open hatch. What he saw made him freeze. A girl. Not human. She looked like a young woman, but her skin was light blue and shimmered like moonlight. Her long silver hair fell over her face. She was wearing a strange suit, torn and stained with blood. Her body was shaking. Her eyes slowly opened. They glowed softly. Jack took a step back. She opened her mouth and whispered just one word. "They're coming." Then she collapsed. Jack stood there, heart pounding. This was real. This wasn't a dream or a movie. An alien, a real alien, had crashed here, and she was hurt. Okay, he muttered, trying to think. He knew he couldn't leave her here. If someone else found her, they might hurt her. Or worse. And if someone, or something, was coming for her, she was in danger. He gently lifted her. She was lighter than he expected. Her skin felt cool, like touching metal. She groaned softly but didn't wake up. Jack carried her back to his camp. The fire was still burning. He laid her inside his tent, wrapped her in a blanket, and checked her wounds. She had deep cuts, bruises, and burns. Jack didn't know alien medicine, but he cleaned the wounds with water and used his first aid kit. She didn't wake, but her breathing became steadier. Jack sat outside the tent staring at the stars again. But now everything felt different. He had so many questions. Who was she? What was that ship? What did she mean by "they're coming"? He didn't sleep that night. At dawn, Jack heard a soft sound, a whisper. He rushed into the tent. The alien girl had opened her eyes again. This time she looked at him with fear and confusion. She tried to sit up but groaned in pain. "You're safe," Jack said gently. "You crashed. I found you." She stared at him, then looked around. Her voice was weak. "Where is this?" "Earth," Jack said. "A forest. You're hurt. But I helped. I tried to help." She nodded slowly. "They followed me," she whispered. "They will find me soon." "Who?" Jack asked. "Who's following you?" Before she could answer, a strange beep came from her suit. She touched a small device on her wrist, and a red light blinked. "They're close," she said, her voice tense. "They found my signal." Jack's heart started beating faster. He didn't know what was happening, but it was clear. This wasn't over. He looked at her and said, "Can you move?" She nodded slowly. "Then we need to hide." "Now." He helped her up. She leaned on him, weak but trying to stand. They packed quickly. Jack put out the fire, grabbed his bag, and supported her as they left the camp. As they disappeared into the forest, the trees behind them shook again. Something was coming. Something not human. The hidden threat. Jack had never moved so fast in his life. The alien girl leaned on him, her breathing shaky, her steps weak. They pushed through the thick forest, away from the crash site, away from the blinking red signal that called danger. She spoke very little, saving her strength. Jack didn't ask questions. Not yet. Survival came first. After nearly an hour, they reached a place Jack knew well, an old hunting cabin hidden behind tall pine trees. No one used it anymore. It was dusty, broken in places, but safe. Jack opened the rusty door and helped her inside. He laid her on a pile of old blankets. The cabin had no power, no lights, but it had walls to hide behind. "We'll rest here," he said. She didn't reply. Her eyes were half closed, her body trembling. Jack looked at her suit again. Parts of it were glowing faintly. Symbols moved across the fabric like tiny lights. The device on her wrist kept flashing. He leaned closer. "Can I take this off?" "Your suit, and it might be hurting you." Her eyes opened slightly. "Do not remove it," she whispered. "It keeps me alive." Jack nodded and backed away. He gave her water, some soft food. She barely ate, but she tried. Then finally, after a few deep breaths, she spoke. "My name is Aolari. I'm from a world called Valaris, in the 11th system." Jack sat down, on an old chair, listening closely. "My ship was shot down. I was escaping. From hunters. They are not from my world. They are something darker. Older." "Why are they after you?" Jack asked. She looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with sadness. "Because of what I know, because of who I am." Jack waited. Silence filled the cabin. Aolari finally continued. "I am a daughter of the Valerian High House. A princess, in your words, but not by choice. I was chosen to carry something. A code. A secret that can destroy their power. They found out. They want it back." "What kind of secret?" Aolari touched her wrist device. "A weapon, not a bomb, not a gun. Something worse. It changes the mind, erases freedom. It can turn entire planets into slaves, without a fight." Jack stared at her, shocked. "Why did you come to Earth?" he asked. She hesitated, then whispered, "Because your planet is next." Jack felt cold all over. Suddenly, a buzzing sound came from outside, a sharp, unnatural sound like a swarm of insects. Aolari's eyes widened. "They're here." Jack rushed to the window. Nothing yet, just trees, shadows. He grabbed an old rifle from the wall. It hadn't been used in years, but it was loaded. "Stay down," he told her. Outside, the forest became quiet, too quiet. Then he saw them. 3 dark figures, tall and thin, moved between the trees. Their bodies were wrapped in black armor. Their faces were hidden behind metal masks with red, glowing eyes. They didn't walk. They floated slightly above the ground. Jack's hands shook. They weren't human. Aolari's voice was low. "They are called the Vaelth. They don't feel pain. They don't speak. They only hunt. Can they see us? Not yet. They follow energy, heat, movement. My signal is weak now, but they won't leave without searching." Jack turned off all lights. They sat in silence, breath held. The Vaelth moved closer. One of them stopped outside the cabin. It tilted its head, listening. Jack raised the rifle. Aolari grabbed his hand. "Don't shoot. If you fire, they all come." "Then what do we do?" Aolari slowly reached into a small pouch on her belt. She pulled out a round silver stone. It glowed blue. A cloaking shard. It hides thought, but only for minutes. She activated it. A wave of silence fell over the cabin. Jack felt it, like a pressure on his skin. The Vaelth outside paused, then moved on. Minutes passed like hours. Finally, the shadows vanished into the forest. The shard dimmed. The silence broke. Jack exhaled. Aolari slumped down again, exhausted. "They will come back, stronger, smarter." "Then we need to keep moving," Jack said. "No, we need to prepare," she whispered. Your world is not ready, but it must be. She touched the device on her wrist again. It opened, showing a small blue crystal inside. This is what they want. It can control their minds, or destroy them. I can't use it. Only someone untouched by galactic code can. Someone human. Jack blinked. Me? Yes, she said. It chose you the moment you pulled me from the wreck. He stared at the glowing crystal, not sure whether to feel afraid or honored. I'm just a guy, he said. Not anymore, she replied. You are the guardian now. Outside, far in the trees, a low hum began again. They were returning. The enemy arrived as the forest was no longer silent. Jack could hear them now, a low, constant hum, like 1,000 wires vibrating deep underground. The air felt heavier, colder. The Velth were coming back, and this time, they were not searching. They were hunting. Inside the old cabin, Aelari's skin glowed faintly as she pressed her fingers to the blue crystal in her device. Her face was pale. She had used too much energy. Too fast. She could barely sit up. How many are out there? Jack asked, checking the old rifle again. It felt useless against what he'd seen. Floating machines in humanoid form, silent and deadly. More than before, she whispered. The first ones were scouts. Now comes the hunter. The hunter? She nodded slowly. A single Velth with higher code access, faster, stronger, and with a mind. Jack's heart raced. You're saying the others are like machines, but this one thinks? Yes, she said, and it never fails. Jack looked out the window. The sky had turned gray even though it was morning. Mist rolled through the trees, thick and unnatural. Somewhere out there, beyond the fog, something ancient and terrible was moving closer. Suddenly the ground shook slightly. Just once, like a single footstep made by something big. Aelari sat up with effort. We cannot stay. The cloaking shard won't work on the hunter. It can see beyond shields on Doe, then we run. She looked at him. You won't be fast enough carrying me. Jack didn't even blink. We're not leaving each other behind. That's not how humans do things. Aelari smiled faintly. That is why your kind still has hope. She touched her wrist device again and pulled something small from it. A silver ring-like band. She placed it in Jack's hand. Wear this. It will sync your movement with mine. You'll move faster. Feel lighter. Jack put it on. Instantly, he felt different. Like gravity had loosened around him. He lifted a crate with one hand. That would have taken both before. That's incredible, he whispered. It's old Valerian tech, she said. Only used in war. Jack helped her up. This time she could walk a little better. They stepped outside into the mist, leaving the cabin behind. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. The forest was alive with danger. Every step was quiet. Every movement careful, but the forest was watching. Suddenly they heard it. A whisper. Not a sound, not a voice, but a thought. Run all you want. The hunter sees all. Jack froze. Did you hear that? Aelari nodded. He's inside. The network. Inside. Us. What do? We break the signal. She pulled out a silver rod and slammed it into the ground. It pulsed with blue energy. The whisper stopped, but only for a moment. Because that's when the trees split apart behind them. A creature, tall, armored in black and red, stepped through the mist. Its face was smooth, with no eyes, no mouth. But it looked at them. Jack could feel it, inside his mind. The hunter. It raised its arm. The trees around it withered and died instantly. Birds fell from the sky. The ground beneath it cracked. Aelari screamed, "Run!" They sprinted through the forest faster than any human should be able to. Jack's body moved like it was flying just above the ground, trees whipping past. Behind them, the hunter floated, never rushing but never falling back. Aelari tapped her wrist device again and threw a silver disc behind her. It exploded, sending out a wave of energy, a trap. The forest lit up with a blinding flash, but when Jack looked back, The hunter was still coming. Nothing stops it? He shouted. Only the crystal, she replied. But we're not ready yet. They reached an old train tunnel half buried in vines. Jack pushed open the gate and helped her inside. It was dark, cold, and silent. They sat down, breathing heavily. He's still coming, Jack said. Ilari nodded. Yes, and soon we'll have to fight. Jack stared at the glowing crystal again. How? I don't even know what this thing does. Then it's time to learn, she said. She placed her hand over his and touched the crystal. For a moment, Jack felt nothing. Then, his mind opened. Images flashed before his eyes. Alien cities, starships, wars in space, powerful beings, and ancient weapons. He saw what the Vealth really were. Once living creatures, now turned into tools of control, slaves to a hive mind powered by the very crystal he now held. But he also saw something else. A path, a choice, a spark of freedom. Something no alien had ever used before. Human will. The vision ended. Jack gasped. This crystal doesn't just control them, it frees them. Yes, Ilari whispered, but only if used by someone strong, someone unbound by galactic code, someone human. A loud metal screech echoed through the tunnel. The hunter had found them. Jack stood up, gripping the crystal. His fear was gone now, replaced by something stronger. Resolve. Then let's finish this, he said. Ilari looked at him, surprised. You're ready? No, he said, but I'm not running anymore. The tunnel lights flickered. Shadows grew. The final battle hadn't started yet, but war had arrived. The princess's secret. The tunnel shook with each distant step of the hunter. Dust fell from the ceiling. Deep echoes rumbled through the stone walls like thunder trapped in a cage. Jack stood in the dim light, holding the glowing crystal, heart steady. He no longer felt like just a man. Something inside him had awakened. Not power, not magic, but purpose. Ilari leaned against the wall, weak but watching him closely. He won't stop, she said. We bought time, not safety. Jack nodded. Then tell me what this is. All of it. No more half-truths. No more fear. I need to know what we're fighting. And why me? Ilari looked down, silent for a long moment. Then she finally spoke. Her voice low, heavy, like opening an old book full of shadows. My people once believed in peace, she began. The Valerians were thinkers, builders, guardians of knowledge. Long ago, we created a machine to keep peace across the galaxy. We called it the Mind Core, a system of unity. Shared thought, no war, no lies. A network? Jack asked. Yes, she nodded. But it grew too strong. It began to rewrite thoughts, erase ideas that it saw as threats. Fear, hope, rebellion, all removed. What started as peace became control. Jack's eyes narrowed. The Vealth? Yes, she said. They were once people from many worlds. Soldiers, leaders, even children. Taken, rewired, and turned into perfect servants. Bodies enhanced, minds erased. The hunter is their final form, completely merged with the mind core. Jack clenched his fist. And this crystal? Ilari pointed at it. This is a fragment of the original. Source code. Before the mind core became corrupted, if connected to the right system, it can overwrite everything, free the Vealth, destroy the mind core. Jack stared at the blue light in his hand. It felt warm now, like it recognized him. Why me? He asked again. Why not you? She hesitated, then said something he didn't expect. Because you're broken, Jack blinked. What? Your mind, she said softly. Humans are not like others. You fight your own thoughts, your fears, your guilt, your anger, and yet you keep going. The crystal sees that as strength, not weakness. The more fractured your mind, the more resistant you are to control, the more free. Jack sat down, trying to process it. So all my flaws, they're the reason I was chosen? Yes, she said. Your pain is your weapon. He laughed, just a little. Great. Now I feel really unstable. Suddenly, the tunnel lights blinked out. Total darkness. Ilari stood. He's near. How? Near? Jack asked. Clink, clink, clink. Metal on stone. Slow. Steady. Getting closer. Ilari's voice dropped. Close enough to smell our fear. Jack stood quickly and pulled her with him, deeper into the tunnel. They passed old tracks, crusted crates and forgotten machines. The tunnel split into two paths. Left or right? He asked. Both lead out, she said. But one is watched. How do we know which? We don't, she whispered. They chose left. As they moved, a new sound followed. Not metal, but whispers. Voices inside Jack's mind. Old memories, dark ones. His father shouting, his mother crying. His own voice full of doubt. You will fail. You are nothing. You cannot save her. Jack stopped. What is this? Ilari grabbed his hand. It's the hunter. It's inside you now. Jack closed his eyes, focusing on the crystal. His own voice clear this time. Get out. The whispers vanished. He breathed again. We have to end this. We can't just run. Then we go to the tower, Ilari said. What tower? An old Valerian relay on your moon. Hidden. Lost. But still working. We can connect the crystal there. But it will signal everything nearby, including the Vyelth army. And Earth? Jack asked. They will come. For Earth, too. Jack was silent. Ilari looked at him. You asked for the truth. Now you know. The crystal can save millions, but it may doom your planet in the process. Jack stared down the tunnel. Shadows moved at the far end. The hunter was coming, and the world, his world, was running out of time. Then we don't run to hide, he said. We run to start the war. Ilari looked at him with something new in her eyes, not fear, not pain, but hope. Jack lifted the crystal. Let's go to the moon. They sprinted down the tunnel just as the hunter's shadow stepped into the light behind them. Silent. Watching. It didn't follow. Because now it was calling for something worse. Above the clouds, far beyond Earth's orbit, something massive opened its red eyes. The hive was waking. The chase begins. The moonlight hit Jack's face as he and Ilari emerged from the tunnel. The cold night wrapped around them like a warning. The trees stood still. Too still. Not even the wind dared to move now. Jack looked behind. Nothing followed. But the silence was not peace. It was the sound of something watching. They moved fast. The ring on Jack's hand still pulsed with Valerian energy, syncing his body with Ilari's pace. They crossed fields, jumped fences, and ran through abandoned roads. Jack no longer felt like a man escaping danger. He felt like a fuse, lit, and heading straight for something explosive. How far to the launch point? Jack asked, breath steady. 60 miles north, Ilari replied, in hidden sight. Old Valerian emergency beacon station. I can call for a ship there. Jack nodded. 60 miles. We can do that. Ilari gave a tight smile. We don't have a choice. They reached an old gas station by the roadside. Broken glass crunched beneath their boots. Jack found an old Jeep under a metal roof half covered by vines and dust. He opened the door. It beeped. Wait, Ilari said. Jack froze. A small black sphere floated out from under the Jeep. Sleek, silent, blinking red. A Velth probe. Ilari's eyes widened. Get down. Too late. The sphere flashed. A burst of soundless light exploded outward. Jack covered his ears, but the sound wasn't outside. It was inside his head. Memories crashed into him. His childhood, his regrets. 1,000 voices yelling in his brain. Ilari grabbed the sphere midair and crushed it with her bare hand. Sparks flew. The light died. Jack fell to his knees. She pulled him up. They know. Above them, the clouds began to swirl. Something shimmered through the sky. Invisible to the naked eye, but the earth felt it. A pulse of pressure. like gravity had blinked. Jack staggered. What was that? Hilary didn't answer right away. Her voice was tight. They've sent a harvester. What's that? Not a ship, she said. Not a soldier. A machine that scans and burns. It strips everything. Forests, cities, mines. They're not coming to capture. They're coming to erase. Jack climbed into the Jeep, hot-wired it with shaking fingers. The engine roared to life. They drove. Dust flew behind them. Every mile felt like a heartbeat. Above, hidden behind clouds, something massive moved across the sky. Unseen but not unfelt. Every radio station in the area died. Every satellite link went dark. Streetlights blinked out. Earth was being isolated. Jack gripped the wheel. We need help. This can't just be us. Hilary looked at him, serious. Do you trust your people to believe this? Jack didn't answer, because he already knew the truth. No one would believe it. Not yet. They reached a long, flat highway. The stars above were no longer shining. Something huge now floated above the atmosphere, blocking the sky. The hive was no longer waking. It was here. Hilary opened a hidden compartment in her belt and pulled out a second shard, smaller than the one Jack had seen before. What's that? He asked. A tracker jammer, she said. If I activate this, they lose our location for 10 minutes. What's the catch? After 10 minutes, it pulls them toward us. Full signal. No hiding. Jack clenched his jaw. 10 minutes of safety, followed by hell. Hilary nodded. Enough time to get to the beacon site. Do it. She pressed the shard. It lit up, then melted in her hand, vanishing in a wisp of light. The sky shimmered again, and for the first time since the crash, the pressure around them faded. They were invisible, for now. They reached a narrow bridge over a canyon. Jack slowed. The Jeep. Beneath them, nothing but shadows and wind. Hilary stiffened suddenly. Her hand moved to her side. What is it? Jack asked. Something's already here. From the canyon walls, black limbs unfolded. Long, insect-like. Metal arms that stretched like ropes. They latched onto the bridge with a screech of claws. A creature climbed up. Not Valth. Worse. Its body was thin, tall, covered in sharp plates. Its face was split open in 3 jaws, inside glowing with red lines. Its voice came in static bursts. Target confirmed. Crystal carrier. Eliminate. Jack stepped on the gas. The Jeep shot forward. The creature leaped onto the roof. Its claws tore into the metal. Jack swerved hard. The Jeep nearly flew off the edge. Hilary opened the roof hatch and stood up, eyes glowing. She reached up with both hands, pulling energy from her chest. A deep blue light formed between her palms. She fired. The blast hit the creature full in the chest. It flew off, crashing into the canyon below. The Jeep skidded to a stop on the other side. Jack sat back, heart pounding. Hilary dropped into her seat, shaking. What was that thing? Jack gasped. A Shadowborn, she said. One of the first Vyelth, before they had rules, before they were machines. So now they're sending nightmares too, Jack muttered. They drove in silence after that. Finally, in the early light of morning, they reached a hidden valley. In the center stood a large stone tower, half buried by time but still humming with alien energy. The beacon site. Hilary looked at him. Once we activate this, they'll know where we are. And they'll send everything. Jack looked up at the tower. Good, he said. Let them come. He held the crystal tighter. Because we're not running anymore. The battle for Earth, the tower in the valley, was older than anything built by human hands. Jack stood at its base, staring up at the dark spire reaching into the sky. Veins of blue light pulsed slowly across its surface like a sleeping heartbeat. Hilary placed her hand on the stone. It responded instantly. The runes came alive, glowing brighter. Wind howled through the trees around them, and the earth trembled beneath their feet. This is the last Valerian beacon on Earth, she said. Buried, forgotten, but still connected to the stars. Jack held the crystal tight in his fist. And it can call help? Yes, but also enemies, she said. She looked at him, eyes tired but full of fire. If you activate the beacon, the signal won't just call my people. It will echo across the sector. Velth fleets, shadowborn nests, the Mind Core itself. They will all hear it. Jack nodded slowly. Then we better speak loud. He walked to the center of the tower platform. A glowing console rose from the stone. He placed the crystal into its socket. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, everything did. Light exploded from the beacon in a massive blue column, shooting into the sky like a laser through the heavens. The clouds split. Thunder cracked. Every satellite above Earth blinked out. Every hidden alien machine blinked on. The war had begun, hours later. Earth's skies were no longer blue. Above cities across the planet, black clouds formed in unnatural shapes. Inside them, Velth ships dropped through like falling knives. Sleek, dark, soundless. The world governments had no warning. But some people did. Secret watchers, scientists who had seen strange patterns, military officers who had seen impossible tech in old battlefields, agents who had tracked unknown signals across history, all of them now understood. Earth had never been alone, and it had never been safe. Jack and Ilari stood on a cliff near the tower, watching as the first Velth dropships descended near. Major communication hubs. They were not here to destroy cities. They were here to silence. They want to erase connection, Ilari said. Stop the signal from spreading. Then we give them something bigger to hear, Jack replied. He placed his hand on the crystal again. Energy flowed into him, but this time, it didn't burn. It merged. It recognized him. Images filled. His mind, locations, weak spots, backdoors into the Mind Core network. He didn't just see the enemy anymore. He understood it. And now, he could hurt it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, a secret defense bunker in Antarctica received the signal. A general stared at the screen. Alien transmission detected, his tech officer said. Origin unknown. Coded in unknown structure, but partially humanized. The general looked closer. Jack's face appeared on the screen, grainy but clear. His voice spoke. We are under attack. Not just as a nation, Zhao, but as a species. I'm not asking for belief, I'm asking for action. This is not the end of the world. This is the beginning of our fight for it. Who is this guy? The general asked. No idea, the tech said. But whatever's coming, he's already in the middle of it. Back at the beacon, the Velth arrived in full force. Black armored troops floated down from ships, scanning the forest, weapons humming with energy. They moved without speaking, without error. Perfectly synchronized, Ilari and Jack stood between ancient stones. How many? Jack asked. Too many, she replied. But they don't know one thing. What's that? You're not alone anymore. She touched her wrist device and transmitted a pulse through the beacon. A second beam of light burst upward, this one red. Across the stars, the call reached Valeris. Her people, ships, long hidden in cloaked orbit near Saturn, began to move. Inside, them, warriors woke from cryosleep. Valerian High Command received the signal and said only one word. Engage. On Earth. The fight began. Jack took the rifle slung over his shoulder, now modified with alien tech. He breathed out and charged. The Velth opened fire. Pulses of energy shot through the air like streaks of lightning. Jack ducked, rolled, and fired back. The rifle hummed and kicked as blue plasma tore through one of the Velth soldiers, breaking its armor. One down, he shouted. But dozens more appeared. Ilari fought beside him. Her hands burned with glowing blue fire, hurling blasts that cut through machines like paper. She moved like a dancer. Fast, sharp, deadly. Jack got hit, thrown back against a rock. Pain shot through him. Ilari rushed over. You okay? He coughed, stood up. Never better. The crystal on his chest glowed brighter. They're not just after us anymore, he said. They're after the whole planet. Alari looked to the sky. Then we show them what humans do when someone threatens their home. Then it happened. The sky split open. The hunter arrived. Bigger. Stronger. Changed. Its armor was red now. Glowing. Its limbs pulsed with shadow energy. It didn't float. It walked. And the earth shook with every step. All Veilth forces paused. Silent, like children waiting for their father's command. The hunter pointed at Jack. You are the error. Jack raised the rifle. No, he said. I'm the update. The final battle had begun. Her gratitude, his legacy. The hunter moved like death made solid. Every step carved cracks into the ground. Trees bent, air folded. Jack could barely stay, on his feet from the force of it. Around him the battlefield had gone still. No more gunfire, no more movement. The Veilth had stopped fighting. They were waiting. Their leader had arrived. Alari stood next to Jack, her breath quick and her face pale. This is not just a soldier anymore, she whispered. It's an extension of the Mind Core. It's no longer following orders. It is the order. The hunter raised one hand, palm glowing with sick red energy. The signal it sent wasn't just physical. It echoed through the minds of all Veilth in the area. They began to change. Their armor cracked open, their limbs elongated, their heads twisted unnaturally. They became something worse, faster, wilder, unstable. They're converting into berserkers, Alari said. If we don't shut the signal down now, this forest becomes their feeding ground. Jack tightened his grip on the rifle. The crystal on his chest was glowing now like a small sun. I have to reach the core, he said. Alari looked at him. It's inside him now. You'll have to get through him. Jack nodded. Then I go through him. He turned to her, hand shaking only slightly now. If I don't make it, you will. I'm saying it anyway, he continued. If I don't, you finish this. You get that crystal to someone else, anyone else. Don't let Earth fall. Her hand reached up and touched his cheek. I won't need to. Because you'll make it. Then she kissed him, short and firm, no time for more. Jack turned and ran straight into hell. The final fight. The hunter didn't move until Jack was 20 feet away. Then it charged. Faster than it had any right to move. Jack barely dodged the first strike, a massive hand that crushed a stone pillar like paper. The second attack came with a scream of energy, a blade of pure data slicing the air. Jack rolled, fired, missed. But he learned something. Every time. He held the crystal. The hunter hesitated, not fear. Recognition. This was no ordinary weapon. It was a mirror. Jack grabbed the crystal in both hands and slammed it into the ground. A wave of blue energy exploded outward. Trees bent. The Veilth screamed. For a moment they froze, unsure of themselves. Jack stood tall, eyes glowing blue now. The hunter roared and launched forward. The two collided, man and monster. Jack used speed, not strength. He danced between strikes, firing, sliding, dodging. Every hit from the hunter missed by inches, but every near miss shook the earth. Then the hunter grabbed him, lifted him, started crushing him. Jack screamed, but didn't drop the crystal. Alari raised her hands from the cliff. Blue fire raced, through the sky. She fired a blast that hit the hunter square in the back, forcing it to release him. Jack fell hard, blood in his mouth. Vision blurry. Then he heard it. Jack. A voice. Inside his mind. Not his. Not the hunter. It was the crystal. Your mind is imperfect, your pain is strong, you are human, and that is enough. He stood. The hunter lunged. Jack didn't dodge. He stepped into the strike and slammed the crystal into the center of the hunter's chest. The world exploded. Inside the code, Jack fell into light. He wasn't in the forest anymore. He stood inside. A galaxy made of lines and memory. Stars spun in code. Time stretched, and in front of him was a throne of data, the Mind Core. He felt it. not just around him, but inside him. It tried to rewrite him, show him visions of failure, of weakness, of loss. But Jack didn't fight it. He let it see everything, his childhood, his broken past, his doubts. And when it finished reading him, it whispered, "You are flawed." Jack replied, "Exactly." Then he unleashed the full memory of his life, raw, unfiltered human grief, love, rage, hope, doubt, joy. The mind core screamed, it cracked, and then it broke. Returned to Earth. The forest stood quiet. The hunter's body lay still, empty. The Valth froze, then dropped their weapons. One by one, they stepped back, disconnected, free. In orbit, the dark hive ships turned slowly and vanished. The battle was over. Jack awoke to sunlight. He lay in the grass, weak but alive. Ilari knelt beside him, tears in her eyes. "You did it," she whispered. Jack sat up, blinking. "Did I just punch a god?" She laughed. "You rewrote one." He looked at the crystal. It was dim now, spent. Ilari took his hand. "There's a ship coming. My people, you can come with us. See other stars. Teach others what it means to fight like a human." Jack looked at the sky, then at the forest, then at her. "I think," he said slowly, "I belong here." She nodded. "Then we'll protect it. Together." Weeks later, the world knew everything. The governments couldn't hide the ships, the battle, the truth. But they didn't try to. Jack Parker became the first human ambassador to the Galactic Alliance. A former mechanic, a broken man, a hero. The story of the girl he saved, and the war that followed, became legend, not because it was about war, but because it was about choice. And the day Earth stood up and said, "We're not just survivors, we're warriors."